For the record, the opinions and views expressed over the next hour are simply that. Opinions of the voices on this show. Nothing expressed now or in the future is representative of our sponsors and supporters. Though we do assume that our sponsors and supporters are as open-minded as the conversations you are about to hear. Ah, fuck it. Let's do this shit. Ding!
Hold your breath. Make a wish.
Hey, bonjour and welcome to
SprinkleSumSalt.
I am Bump Jonas here with the gang. Thanks for joining us. All right, let me light this thing up. And away we go. Excuse me. All right, so here we are. Episode 2 of the SprinkleSumSalt podcast. I'm here with the gang, starting from my left to right.
Miss Kim.
Big Thrax. Damo.
All right, once again, I am Bump Jonas. So, got two pretty good topics here. As usual, we will let you take your pick. We're going to go with Big Thrax. Pick a number between 1 through 10.
6.
All right, so that means we're going to go with option 2. All right.
Why would you go option 2?
Because it was either 1 or 2, and the closest to 1 was going to pick option 1, but you got closer to 10, which means we go with 2. That's my logic. All right.
Yeah.
Sure.
I thought it would just say,
It'd have been nice to know the rules before you picked the number.
Right, it'd
wouldn't
have been like, okay.
it? Way to go.
That kills the fun.
Oh, I guess.
I mean, fun for me.
Yeah.
All right, so this one is called Personal Growth
Oh, fuck.
and Survival.
Oh, Jesus.
All
We
right.
have to grow and survive.
So,
Oh, please.
as this goes, as we try to do it, there is no right or wrong answer, and every question can delve into another subset of questions. It's all about conversation, spark, and dialogue. So, right off the bat, let's jump right in. I'm going to go, again, we'll start left to right here. Miss Kim, what do you consider personal growth? I'd like everyone to be able to answer that. We're going to start over here.
Personal growth. I think it's when you can overcome like certain situations or obstacles in your own life. Personal growth. You know, when you run into shit. Bullshit. Usually shit that your parents gave you. You can overcome that bullshit, then that's some personal fucking growth.
Personal fucking growth. All right. Drax?
It's a good question. I appreciate it for the time.
I think we just got some personal growth coming over that shit that he just left in the air.
That ain't no goddamn lie.
That's some personal fucking
Honestly.
That was just a growth.
Yeah, we all had to personally get the fuck over.
You goddamn right.
My eyes are still watering.
Honestly, personal growth to me personally, I think it's when you overcome a challenge, when you realize, or let me rephrase this. I think it's when you overcome something personally that you know is putting you down, or it is stopping you from being better than who you are the next day. So, as in reference, as I'd say in, anger, if you can find things that can make you smile more. Say you were angry yesterday and you have a smile today, and that smile is something you didn't have the other day. I think that personally is personal growth. For you to overcome the shadows that's in your head.
Totally.
Okay.
Yeah.
Damo?
I would just say, personal growth is something personal to yourself. So it's kind of like one of those things that it's like, there's things about yourself that you might not like, or that you might not, that you feel like might be problems within yourself. And it's like, if you can find ways, like, okay, for example, like my girlfriend, like she'll have, she usually reacts a certain type of way with bugs, but today a bug flew in and she didn't react that type of way, and she was sat there and was like, yo, that was low key growth. And it's just kind of like little things like that where it's like other people might not keep tabs on it, but you gotta keep tabs on it for yourself and just kind of go from there.
All right, I like that.
That is personal growth.
Yeah. I have nothing to refute in this situation, so everyone's answer is correct. So, I had another question, but the responses here, and something that both of y'all said, but especially Crack said, sparked another question for me. With the way y'all define or set personal growth, what's the difference between growth and survival? I'm going to start over here since I started there. I'm going to go to my right with Damo. And there may not be a difference. I'm just,
no, I feel like that there definitely is though, because like with growth is something that like doesn't have to happen. Like survival, like if you want to live, like if you want to like literally survive, it's in the title. Like you know, survival techniques are things that you just go day by day and you pick up, and it's like, yo, I gotta do these things to get by.
Okay.
Versus growth, personal growth, those things are things that's like, yo, like if you can get better at those things every day, like that'd be nice. But it's like, you know, like as long as you're doing these certain set of things, it's kind of not, you know, those things are just kind of based on you. Like,
so you would say that survival would create, survival begets personal growth, but doesn't necessarily have to equate to it.
yeah.
Would you say that?
Yeah.
Would anyone like to expound upon that?
My question is, what kind of survival are you talking about? Like the everyday?
It's not my job to define.
Because I believe everyone has a different type of surviving. And I only say this for example, and you know, always pitch in. I think just being biracial or black in America, you are surviving. And I mean by this, you are surviving literally from the everyday look down upon. A lot of people look at you. The everyday fight that you say, like myself, looking for a job. You know what I mean? Some positions I just won't be qualified for because either the fact they'll figure it out, or you know what I'm saying, like that.
Right.
Then I'm also a little paranoid when it comes to survival. I believe you should always have a weapon or something to protect yourself at all times.
Right.
That's my personal opinion because this fucking world is getting worse.
Right.
So when I think about survival, I think of it in a couple ways. Either it's an everyday struggle, or it's going to be something that you should have something, because you never know when a jackass can come fuck you up. You know what I mean?
So you would break survival down into two levels or tiers.
I think there's different levels to survival.
Day-to-day
Absolutely.
convenience, accoutrements to like making your day whatever it is you want it to be, and then there's just, am I gonna wake up the next day?
Yeah, in my opinion, I see it as like that.
Okay. Would you like to add into that in any way? Oh.
Well, there is two types of survival. You're talking about just living, just waking up, breathing, living, walking as survival.
Yeah.
Well, you think just being a woman, you have to, that's tough. You have to have a weapon just being a woman.
No, I believe that.
just to get some orange juice.
Just having a vagina is fucking dangerous.
Well, that's a whole other topic. Because
That is a whole different
I
survival
would
topic.
personally say that
That's a whole different
unfortunately
survival topic.
in our
let me tell
society,
you.
having a vagina is a weapon.
It's a weapon
men.
that you have to survive, let me tell you.
But we won't even touch that. We'll come back around to that.
It is a weapon, and you have to survive it as a woman and a man, I guess, technically. But yeah, that's for a whole other day.
We're doing
There's mental and
Your speaker's going
that's
off.
me. I was hello.
So I think, and now here's where I'm going to mix things up a bit, okay? To truly survive, let's say, to be very, I don't want to use the word good at it, but to be, I'm not gonna be, there's a certain word I'm looking for, and it's probably gonna come after the fact. But I think to be really, really proficient at surviving, you have to have personal growth.
Ooh.
I think they go hand in hand.
Ooh.
I don't think you truly survive if you don't have personal growth.
So I'm gonna try and paraphrase what I think you're saying. Let me know if you're right. When you say truly survive, because you can survive a scenario. Let's say you break your leg and you never actually find a way to mend it, but it heals itself. You can find a way to survive that experience, but you always have a lame leg. So in order to truly survive that fracture, there's certain things that you have to do to walk through, which is going to be painful, rehab.
Exactly.
And that would
There are
then
going to be so many obstacles to overcome.
that you
to
would
become that survivor of that broken leg. It's going to be physical. It's going to be mental.
spiritual. Right.
So to truly be a life survivor, it's going to take a tremendous amount of personal growth.
To survive in a way that is sustainful or sustaining to your
You
own
can
life.
wake up every day, put pants on, find food and shelter, and that is surviving. And I'm doing the air quotes, nobody can see. That's surviving.
Right.
But to truly survive and be, good at it, or to be, proficient at it, do well at it,
Right.
you have to have personal
They're
growth.
going to have to seek some growth
Yes.
or attain
Yes.
some kind of growth.
Yes.
So,
Hold on, I got a question with that. I guess it's still along as that. Personally, for yourself, at what age do you think you've thought about that for yourself?
I didn't think about it. I never sat down and truly said to myself, gosh, I really need to do some personal growing.
Okay.
I never did that.
Now that you realize
You never
did
thought.
that, so as we talk about it, or maybe you've done in the past, what advice would you give your children about survival? Or
Oh, no, I've told them this a million times. Do not wait as long as I did to wake the fuck up. Don't wait. The minute you make a realization that you don't like shit, or that you want shit's not going your way, you don't like how things are going, you don't like this person, this morally affects you, you know what I'm saying? The minute, don't fucking wait. Don't wait. Don't do what I did, don't walk in my shoes, just don't.
what about you?
Don't wait till you're 40 fucking 5 almost
Right,
to realize that this shit's not for you.
right.
Don't. That's my advice, and I've said it a million times.
What about you, OG? Same question to you.
I'm gonna defer that question until the end of the segment,
Fair
but
enough.
I will answer that.
Fair enough.
Well, why don't I?
I just wanted to kind of just jump in on I kind of hopped right back in, but just on the topic of like survival and stuff, being homeless, and stuff like that. Like literally, I lived off survival techniques for 2 years, pretty much, like where it was just straight up, and so it's one of those things where it's kind of hard to compartmentalize like what survival really is, just because it's one of those things where it's like it can be something small, it can be something big, like okay, being just like mindful of other people and just like maybe I'll be able to sleep on their couch tonight, but also understanding that like if I just ask once a week versus twice a week, maybe there's a lot higher likelihood and stuff like that. So it's like it's just different levels to it of just figuring out for you like what does it take for you to survive or to like get past that, because I really feel like it's a matter of like people only are like when you're surviving it's because you have to, like nobody's surviving because they like to survive, whenever you're living you're trying to be living and thriving, you're not trying to just survive. So it's just one of those things where when you're in survival mode you're down to literally you're almost at your most vulnerable,
Right.
in the sense of like anything right or left, like you're in fight or flight,
Right, right.
Off rip. So I don't know. I think that it's just a interesting, like, I don't know if
It's a very nuanced.
Yeah, it's very nuanced in a way.
Well, I would definitely say
It's hard
survival is dependent on the environment and the person and what they deem as necessary to define their survival. So this, I think, is a good segue. As we talk about survival and personal growth, I want to jump back to personal growth a bit more. How do you measure growth? You've survived whatever it is you're going to survive, or you haven't had to go through anything to survive, but you've come to a point of some.
When you're not doing what you used to do.
Right,
Yeah,
and so
exactly.
Like that's
Exactly.
really like if you
Yes.
when you are faced with the same situations and you act differently in those situations.
Do you
that's-
make those same decisions?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
that's whenever it's growth. It's like whenever you just you can look back and be like, damn, I was in that same exact situation except for I went left instead of right. Like I made whether it be the right decision or the wrong decision.
Right.
It's like like I did the opposite.
of what I would have normally done.
and
So I
it's
learned
like,
from that.
Exactly.
So
good or bad.
There's a bad joke in there somewhere, but personal growth could be the answer to insanity.
Exactly.
Right? And so,
Exactly. Repeating the same thing, expecting the same result. Yeah.
in this case, you're not gonna repeat the same thing, but
Exactly.
you're gonna expect.
Yeah.
No, you wouldn't expect the same result. You'd expect a different result or a
Different
better result.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
So is the cure to insanity would be personal growth?
Right. If you were gonna try and figure out a formula for it, right?
Yeah.
There's somewhere to pull some funny out of that, but I can't
Yeah.
figure it out
Where's
yet.
Freud
I
when
don't
you
know.
need him?
You know, let's take that one. Let's keep going with that. How would you measure personal growth?
Me?
Hmm?
Man.
You've defined it. You have, as we sat here, you defined it. So how would you then measure it?
Honestly, I measure it from, I think about kind of like what he said. I'm going to piggyback off him or camelback, whatever the fuck they say. Big Thrax here, everybody. Follow Thrax Nation.
Gang.
Everywhere. Honestly, personally for myself, I would say a personal growth is actually, perfect example, like today. The little ones. Little one with ice cream. Kept saying no to her auntie. No. And so clear as day, right? And we all know the word no around big dog is, I hate that word. You will respect.
It's an unfortunate word.
Right, unfortunately. So, as I was going back to that situation, I let the other person take control, hold the situation down. I didn't blow up. I did look, but I didn't blow up, and I didn't say nothing. That right there, in my opinion, is a personal growth moment because I didn't blow up.
Right, right.
Honestly, you're laughing.
No, I'm laughing
No.
because it's
You know what I'm saying?
Right, yeah,
we
yeah.
can
It
imagine.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right, like
You know, for you, that is a big fucking step.
that's what I'm saying. I'm on the
Yeah.
couch and I'm restraining myself and I'm telling my mind, yo, relax because of the fact it's gonna happen and you gotta let the others get the respect from them. Show them like, hey, you know what I'm saying? It can't always just be me jumping in because I gotta get to the point.
Right.
So, long story short, I would say that right there, in my opinion, is a personal growth moment.
Yeah, that definitely is.
You know what I
That
mean?
definitely is. That, I mean, that's an example of the scenario that he gave, or that's a scenario that provides an example to what he gave. So, I'm pretty sure that's pretty much the census then on personal growth is that when you start to notice that you're doing something different as you encounter a similar scenario.
And some people consider that just acting different or whatever. Is the screen supposed to go black? But
Yeah.
some people, act like that's like you acting different or whatever, and it's like, yo, like, yeah, like, I feel like we should be proud of each other whenever we look up and it's like, damn, you don't act the same way that you used to. But it's like, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's like, yo, like you're growing up and realizing what's important to you.
Right.
Like with Jiggy, for example, like just the fact of like some people could look at our relationship and be like, damn, y'all don't spend as much time together as y'all used to, or something like that. And it's like, no, but like we understand that, like, yo, I see what he's doing, and what's important to him, and he's literally like flourishing within that, and it's like that's what makes him happy. Then it's like, yo, that's also what makes me happy. That's that's growth within himself and within myself to be able to be. We're okay going on our separate paths and knowing that we're still brothers.
Right.
So it's just like things like that where it's like, yo, you should be able to look at each other's personal growth and not feel some type of way or feel left behind. Like if that's the case, then you might be getting left behind.
Right.
That might be what that is.
Let me add one thing to that.
No, go ahead.
Shout out to Jiggy, Sad Boy, every platform, get it.
Every
you
platform.
slacking, you sleeping, hot ass album, go get
All the vibes.
You know what? That's a good answer. I don't really want to I don't want to sully that by having y'all answer. That was really good. I want to segue right off of that into I think is a good question based off of what he says. So one of my next question was, how does survival become growth? And I think we've already kind of talked about that. So there's no need to touch on that. But when does survival, as it pertains to personal growth, however it applies, right? When does that become regression? If we understand and define survival and we accept that the act of going through survival or surviving something will typically create personal growth, when does that end up becoming a scenario that it actually doesn't generate growth, but it generates backward steps? I'm gonna go
When
to
you're
the left.
enabled.
Ooh.
When you're enabled. I think when you're in a situation where you're trying to survive and the people that are helping you survive are really not helping you and they're enabling you. So they keep you in a limbo state of you're surviving, but you're really just being enabled, and I think that regresses you. Yeah.
Because you never get that push to be able to learn something.
Never.
And it's like,
You never get the baby bird out the nest. Boop,
No.
go.
No. And it's really tough because you're enablers, which I am a huge enabler, which I really, unfortunately, have just learned within the last few years. Well, let's say I've learned it, I'm just now acknowledging it. That's my personal growth.
Right.
I'm just acknowledging it. It's very hard to push out because it's tough love is really what it is. And it makes you feel bad because you're like, fuck. Here I think I've been helping somebody all along and I've just been enabling them. And it's caused them to go backwards.
And that's probably tough on the back end
It's
to
tough on
realize
everybody.
that.
It's tough on everybody.
Well, especially if you are the enabler and you hit that, oh shit, that's me. And it's like, damn.
Yeah. So you have that personal growth moment of fuck. Not been helping. I've only caused
backwards.
the backwards.
Okay. So
And it's tough on the person who's been surviving. Really, you haven't been surviving. I've been slowing you the fuck down by not making you go fucking
whatever
do this on your
necessary
own.
steps that they needed haven't happened.
Yes.
So I want to. I think we got a little secession going here. Like good answer. So I want to segue right off of that into sort of the other end of it, and I'm going to hit you, Thrax, Big Thrax.
What's that?
When does growth become stagnant?
Explain the word stagnant. Not gonna lie, ladies and gentlemen.
That's good. That is another example of personal growth.
On God.
You're gonna witness it right here.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna try that. I just what is it?
Well, I mean, if growth means moving forward and regression means moving backwards, stagnant means you just don't move at all. You just stay the same.
Stuck, just stale.
Now re-say the question.
So, given that we know that certain aspects of survival can cause steps backwards, and we know that survival itself can cause growth, when does growth, however it happens, when does growth become stagnant, in your opinion?
Shit.
I'm growing right the fuck now because this edible is fire.
Brought to you by Thrax Pastries. Tap the fuck in.
Anybody want to try it? Anybody want to try it? It's fucking fire.
I'm not a chocolate guy.
Neither is Strax. Strax doesn't like chocolate. Jamo, you want to try it?
Yo, that's a good question.
When does growth become stagnant?
I think maybe it comes stagnant when maybe in a lot of situations you don't need growth, if that makes sense. Maybe you've done so much growth in like a period of time, and maybe you're trying to push for more, but maybe you don't really need it. Does that make sense? And I guess in a way, I think, like, don't get me wrong. You're always gonna do some personal growth in some aspect of your life throughout the day, regardless. But I think maybe when you are at the peak of your life and shit is right and everything's balanced, maybe sometimes there is no growth to be had.
See, that's a problem for me. You should never stop growing. Ever. Ever.
I feel like tough situations can make like whenever it comes to survival, like it's a two-way street, because I feel like sometimes we can just talk about it as, in a sense of like, oh yeah, survival, and then once you get out, and it's like sometimes like there's people that are stuck in survival mode that it's like eventually like the reason that like they stay stagnant is because it's just like, yo, like it just feels like they're never gonna get out of that shit, like because you get stuck in it for so long, you're stuck in survival mode for so long that it becomes your natural state, and so you're not able to actually grow. Like you're not growing because it's just like, yo, this is me, this is who I am.
You've accepted that stage, and now that's it. Like you think it's kind of like if Goku were to think that Super Saiyan 1 was his final form and doesn't realize that he can get to God level.
Yeah.
Right.
What the hell is that?
That's some anime
That was an anime
It
reference.
was a real anime. He's going.
But it was actually like the most basic
Yeah, it was
anime
the
reference.
basic.
It wasn't even. I didn't even go really. I didn't do like shampoo or fucking bleach.
Shampoo?
Yu Yasha.
Yeah, I didn't do any of that stuff. So it was a pretty basic reference. It's okay. It's alright.
Yeah. Sorry.
No. You're good. You're good. So okay. Here's my final question on this particular segment, and again, I want everyone to answer on this one, and I'm not gonna go in any order. There's no time limit. How do you encourage growth?
How do I encourage it?
Mm-hmm.
Staying positive. That's the best answer. It's staying.
Like you like to say, fight to stay positive.
Yeah, fight. It's a war. It's a war to be positive. Because it very, that's just my opinion. If you could try to stay positive every day, no matter what happens, even if it becomes a shitty day, I think that's growth regardless. Because you're handling it a different way than you normally would. So example, if I get bad news or something that pisses me off, lose money, I blow the fuck up.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's a good day.
Right, easy. But if you can still find a way to find some smile or some like, hey, you know what? If you can find a way that you learn from it, I think you're winning. And that's what I would say. I kind of repeated myself there, but y'all got the gist.
Can you restate the question?
Yeah, absolutely. How do you encourage growth?
I don't know. I keep hearing this stuff, and I'm like seeing the double edgedness of it, to where it's just kind of like, I mean, because it's kind of it's a hard situation, because it's like, yeah, like sometimes like it's like, all right, like it's easier to do that to encourage growth within like I guess the question is, are you talking about within yourself or within other people?
Either way.
Because okay, well, within yourself is a way easier question, because it's just kind of like, all right, well, within that, like that's a personal thing, like little things that you figure out that you like or that you don't like, you can just start. If you got to make it a game within your own mind of like, oh, okay, every time now I fuck up with this, like then I got to do this, I got to do 5 push-ups or whatever it is, and you can just you'll start being able to manifest growth in little in other ways. But whenever it comes to other people, it can be a little bit harder, because it can seem like you can be like, it's hard to do that without seeming condescending in a lot of ways, where it's just like, yo, like, come on, let's get it, like, let's go, like, and it's kind of like, fam, like maybe like your growth and my growth aren't at the same level or rate, and you can't, so it's hard to be able to, like, you can try to encourage it and try to like, yo, like, I'm here for you in all the ways, in any way that I can help you, but at the same time, it's hard to actually sit there and like, it's hard to encourage that shit without seeming condescending in a way.
Right, or pushy, or just over the top.
So that's why I try to, like, you kind of got to try to focus within yourself, like, and just hope that the people that you want to influence see you working towards that growth, and they start working towards that growth.
So you would say just basically,
if you focus on personal growth, everybody else's growth should happen
by osmosis, just by being around. Miss Kim, would you like to add to that? How do you encourage growth?
Well, I think I don't know. I don't put it out there on my sleeve like I push it like a drug, but I low key do it by influence. Like, I'm constantly putting out there, teaching how to cook, teaching how to clean, teaching, do you want to meditate? I push my life coach. I push the books that I'm reading. I push everything that I know. I push on somebody else.
Yeah.
I'm constantly doing it. I'm constantly telling the girls, the boys, I'm you. Hey,
right.
you know what I'm saying? I read this book, or I listened to this book, or this quote, or my Sunday meditations and my workshops, and so anything that I'm doing, I'm like, hey, do you want, I'll give you my account info. Do you want to listen to that? Do you want to do this? Do you want to do that?
So you share without being pushy.
I do. I put it out there, and I hear, oh, Mom, you're so corny.
Make communication.
Yeah.
Make information community.
Exactly. Do you want to bake cookies with me tonight? Do you want to help me with this order? you know, I shoot Khalil recipes, or I shoot the girls this. You know what I'm saying? I'm constantly
just make it available.
Sure.
flooding anything that I know. I flood everybody with it, and I guess that's my encouragement. I share what I know.
Right.
All right, so probably should move over to the next topic, next segment. But I will come back because Thrax did ask a question, and I like to kind of recap here. By the way, quick pause here. We do have a special guest in the background, Pager over there, and also special shout out to Damo with the custom-made spicy blunts.
Giggity gang.
Nobody does it.
I love
Roaching
Damo's
blunts, so
blunt.
you know that bitch spicy.
Hey,
Fuck that.
roll another wood outfit. Okay.
It's smoking like a god, like King Thrax.
So
Wait till the can of blunts hit the market.
Hey.
it's on.
They
That's a
are
product.
fab.
So I would say your direct question was my tips on personal growth, and I think the best way for me to answer that is just for me to kind of talk about what I think personal growth is, and I really think you guys all, for me, you guys all hit the nail on the head. I think personal growth is, anytime that you are self-aware and recognize an action or a perception of your own, how you see things, how you see the world. And when you realize that, it doesn't matter if you go negative or positive, it's still a choice. It's a choice to change or to accept. It's the idea that I've taken the time to come to a realization about something. And at that point, you've hit a personal growth point, in my opinion. Again, it doesn't matter which way you go, that's your choice. I believe that survival and personal growth are intertwined in the sense that a lot of times, whether we believe it or not, whether we notice it or not, we're all surviving something. We're surviving our lives, we're surviving our minds, we're surviving ourselves, we're surviving our experience. And as you work through that survival, and it doesn't have to be a bad thing, as Daniel mentioned, you know, the when you come out of survival, the intent is to thrive. So a lot of times when you put yourself into that mind state of survival, it's really a kick in the pants so that you can get to the point of thriving, so that that survival, no matter how bad it is, becomes a source of positivity to get you to where you want to be. But to answer my own question of how it can become stagnant or even regression is because for me, if you get to a point where you're so used to that survival mode that you never get out of it, and even when you begin to thrive, you still treat it as if surviving. Like for myself, I never throw away white teas because I've always been in survival mode. This is how my life has always been.
Yes.
Or I always eat leftovers. Or doesn't matter what food is put on my plate, it could be hot shit from last week. But I'm hungry, I got a job, I got family, I'm gonna eat.
Yes.
Period. So those are aspects of survival mode that never leave, and then you can become stagnant because you never allow yourself to grow past that. So I'm just saying, now, tips wise, you guys all hit the nail on the head. There's nothing I could say differently other than share with the community, share your own experience, be honest and willing with yourself to have self-reflection, even if you think that you know what you're talking about, because that is how you end up with regression, I think, or even stagnancy, or just staleness, is either A, you never leave survival mode, or B, you're thriving so well that you think that there's nothing else that you could be taught.
But okay, I would say personally, survival mode, I don't see how you can ever get out of that. I truly don't see how you can. Like, and that's just, I would say, I honestly, like, maybe it's a personal thing. Like I said, I'm crazy.
The best
shit,
example,
you know? I just don't see how you can get out of survival.
The best example I can give would be Bill Gates. At some point, I mean, he was born with mostly a spoon in his mouth, right? But
I don't even know.
But no, I'm just saying.
All right, I'm gonna
It's probably, you know, he's probably not a good example in terms of how he started. But my point is that he started as a child, and whatever access he had to funds weren't his funds; it was his parents' funds. So he had to create something of his own off of that. Did he piggyback? Yes. I'm not saying none of that. What I'm saying is that at some point there was a survival mode from him, from whatever age to the point that he found himself successful, that he had to figure out what he was going to do to be successful, to measure up to some bar or benchmark in his life. That was a survival mode for him.
So So did it ever stop though?
So that's the question: is did it ever stop? I would think it didn't stop, but it changed. It changed from a survival to a thriving, and now he got out of the mode. He met his benchmark. Well, let me. He met his benchmark of what it was he needed to do. He started a successful company. He moved the goalpost forward a little bit in terms of his family, right? So money is not an issue, not an object, not a hindrance at all. So now, survival.
I know where you're going. He's still surviving. He
Yes.
is still in survivor mode.
Yeah.
But it's
He's
different.
on some fuck
Bigger,
shit.
Yes.
bigger than us.
But it's
Bigger than
different.
us.
I was
But
gonna
it's
say
not-
he's on some fuck
it's
shit.
not
So
a-
he's
that's-
trying to survive, not getting caught on his fuck
Well,
shit.
no, yeah, now that's something else. That's
Yeah.
something else.
Yeah.
But his level of he was able to get past that survival mode to where things became thriving.
Right.
And the thriving is so much
Yeah.
and it's so prevalent
Yeah.
and it's so strong that for him it's shifted to some other form of survival.
Right.
Now it's not just me, I gotta survive my daily life, but my culture, my process, my business, my money, everything that I want to do, the legacy that I want to create now needs to survive. That's his survival mode.
Or so you dig yourself in such a hole with some of the habits that you had to make
That could be too.
also survival mode that you literally can't, like, I feel like Bill Gates is the type of nigga that literally just can't stop. Like that he's one of the, like, almost like of the same mindset of a Thrax, just was brought up in a different different place, and so it was just one of those things where he's still literally sitting up at 3 o'clock in the morning, like, bro, like, what else can I do?
Right.
What else can I do? Like, yo, he's still in survival mode.
So it's a learned habit at this point that he never let go.
Versus like other people that, yo, they get to a certain level.
Right.
It's like,
See, I think
I feel like Bill Gates has not taken that exhale.
He can't.
I think we're on the
Exactly.
same
He
path.
dug that hole for himself.
I think we're saying the same thing
Yes.
from different aspects.
Yes.
I absolutely agree with what you're saying. I think that the level of his survival, because of his ability to thrive in such an extreme way, it's taken his thought process or his goal from a micro level to a macro level. And his instincts are still to do the same process that he's always done, because it's gotten him to where he is, right?
Yeah.
So that would be my take on survival and personal growth, and my tips to it in general would just be, just like you guys said, just share, be open and honest, not only with others but with yourself, because sometimes we can get to a point where we
lie to ourselves.
Right.
And we believe it.
Right, we feel so good about what something is being said to us that it works so well that we're like, no, that's it, and then we start tripping over our own shit to make it right in our head. You know what I mean? So
Don't let somebody else's perception become your reality.
just because, and that's tough because sometimes it fits your reality, right? It fits the reality you want,
Yeah.
and then
You should research Toltec wisdom. Toltec wisdom.
Tell you what, we'll bring it back for next podcast episode.
Yes.
All right. Now's a good time for anyone to, quick potty break, jump out the ride, roll the window down, take a shot.
All right.
Gang, and affiliates, bitch.
You sure you don't want to try a brownie? They are fire. Well, you don't like chocolate, so I'm not really talking to you.
Hey, while we're at it, please keep in mind, Ethereal EP out now. Summer Nights due out soon. All right,
Does
so
anybody want a shot?
that's a negatory from me, Ghost Rider.
I gotta drive at some point.
Oh, well then nobody's having a shot but me, so I will take one for each of you.
All right, we know her answers are about to get much better.
Right.
All right, so how everybody feeling? Everybody feeling good? Good? Want to stand up, shake arms, or anything like that?
Oh yeah, I'm good too.
All right, good. All right, so next one here. This is the last segment. Thank y'all for hanging out. Appreciate you staying.
I expect my check at the end of this.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so this last one, it's pretty high level. It's just basically, I want to delve in and talk to the different sides or aspects of male versus female perspective.
Well, this is kind of uneven since there is 3 males and only 1 female
I
here.
understand that. So,
It's a good thing my dick is bigger than all y'all's.
and that is exactly why I went.
Shout out to Spirit Dick.
I have huge balls.
All right, so I think you're right. There's a bit of a there's not a bit. There's an uneven ratio here.
But that's okay because I'm full of female.
Yeah, but in actuality, though, I'm a narrator, so I'm not here to give my opinion on much, So, but first question up, and we're gonna go over here.
Okay, you gonna start with Damo?
Yes.
Okay.
Don't stop.
Can you tell the difference between male and female perspective in just let's say in something that you approach or you come upon, maybe it's a book or a video or something. Can you tell
Yeah, I mean, in basic senses, there's we're programmed from such a young age, so there's basic things if it's a girl perspective, you might see flowers and pink and stuff like that, versus a guy's perspective, it might be a little bit darker and dirtier and stuff like that. Or just different things like that. You can definitely, or just even in on social media, whenever it comes to different perspectives on things, you can tell. Oh, if this person, usually you can tell if they're a male or a female, or what side of the spectrum that they're trying to fall on. Whenever it comes to that, so it's just kind of one of those things where most of the time you can it just depends on the situation. I feel like if it was a more specific situation, I could.
Right. And I'm trying to keep a high level specifically just to keep the conversation going. Brax, how about you? Can you tell the difference when you're in an environment or a situation, or you're looking at an object that it was presented or created from a male or female perspective?
I would say maybe 50%.
50% of the time.
Yeah, I think it really just depends on the situation.
So what are okay, so let's take a car. Let's take a car.
Okay, from that perspective, no.
No?
Hell no.
I would say, can a car be designed from a male or female perspective? Or are you able to tell that, man, that was maybe a female engineer that,
You're talking showroom floor.
Yeah.
You're talking going to the showroom floor and looking at a 2021.
No, I'm just saying the design of a car. We're talking about looking at the design.
So say that we got 4 cars in a group. They're all gray.
Mm-hmm.
Which one was made?
Would you be able to tell?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
But at the same time, some people they've got a higher sense of being able to on a subconscious. I can dive deep into the psychology of that and figure out that, women usually like things more curved versus men that like things more rigid. So I think that this is the woman's card. But, so you can use things like that. But at the same time, those things are still flawed. So you can still be wrong. But you can try. But a lot of times you can be damned for even trying. So.
That's why I like this topic, but I'll say that for later. So, Ms. Kim, would you like to expound upon that question? Can you tell the difference?
If you do surface level looking at things, you're going to be able to tell if you go surface level, and I mean surface level by looking. If you're reading something, yes, you can usually tell, a female wrote that, or that's a male's point of view. If you're looking at a showroom floor of cars, like you presented as your example, probably not, unless you go the psychology view of things. Does this car have lots of lit mirrors? Does it have extra safety guards for children? Does it have extra car seat bolts in the back? Does it have maybe sippy cup holders? Maybe does it have iPad straps on the back of the car seats? Does it have, all these little extra bells and whistles that don't normally come in a car? Then it's probably engineered by a woman, because women are more in tune with what kids want. Lit mirrors, because women are looking at their makeups before they go into things. If you're going into the psychology of things, and you could probably break it down and know it that way. Unless your engineer is a gay man.
And a lot of women are more have more attention to detail in that sense anyway, where it's just the little things, so sometimes if you can tell that that was just, there's so much attention to detail there, then sometimes you can assume that it's a it was maybe done by a woman, but it's one of those things where, like I said, like even that, like that seems like it could be a compliment. Like,
Right.
oh, like yo, there's so much attention to detail. I thought it was done by a woman,
Right.
and it'll be taken like that's sexist. They're like, yo, like
it can
what?
be very sexist.
You know,
It's like, but it's like, yo, like it's like we have.
it really meant as a compliment.
We
like,
have
I just-
these like okay, like men and women aren't necessarily positive and negative, but we have these different spectrums so that we have we can
strengths and
differentiate, right?
weaknesses,
Like so what?
or
So
challenges.
if we can't differentiate, like then what's the like? Everybody's the same. Like then what makes anybody special? You know, like what make like you know, and that's
That's a
kind
good
of
question.
And
That's
see,
a-
now this is where I would, now as a designer, if I was a designer, an engineer of automobiles, just going off your example.
yeah, right.
My first question would be, if they came to me and said, engineer, we need a 2021 automobile for the next auto show. My questions would be, what am I designing? And they'd say, an SUV. Who am I gearing it for? Who is my focus group?
Right.
Men 25 to 40. Okay, great. So I'm engineering it for men 25 to 40.
it's gonna have a V8.
Exactly. So here's my next question. What is the income level of these men that I'm focusing it for?
Oh wow.
And what are so you're gonna break it down. So then using that information is what I'm gonna design this car for. And I guarantee you're not going to know I'm a woman I'm designing it for.
That
Because
was
I've
going to be
asked
my
these
next question.
questions.
Would you be able to
Yes.
pull your
Yes.
perspective out
Yes.
in that case?
And then you wouldn't know because you're going to look at that car and you're going to be like, wow,
Right.
this is a man's
Now, I
car.
hear a
You wouldn't
lot
know.
of things in what you're saying
Yes.
because you're saying, one, that you, by asking questions and diving in and getting some details, pulling
Yes.
out some inferences,
Figuring out what you need to.
you can
design.
almost remove your own bias from it, right? In a sense, because you're female, so you would remove your female perspective and allow yourself to focus in on the male perspective.
Do what
Yes.
you need to
Right.
do
Yes.
instead of doing
That's
what you
interesting.
want to do.
Right.
There's something else you had said there, and I lost it, but I like that. Very good stuff.
But I'm a detailed person like that when it comes to certain things.
Now, speaking of detail, there's something I want to come back to and play devil's advocate here. Not to pick on Daniel, but Daniel mentioned that women tend to be more detailed. I'm not going to refute that, but I would like to offer up as an example that generally, I'm going to say right or wrong, but I personally believe that it's wrong, that accounting and finances have been handled by men, and that requires a lot of detail. In order for Bernie Madoff to make off with as much money as he did, he required detail
that's a
playing with the
whole
numbers.
different conversation.
No,
about
it is. I'm just.
opportunity
Women are
and
way
shit
more
like that.
detailed than
No,
men.
I'm not saying. I'm
And
just
like,
saying that there is a
who
level
was
of
really
detail there.
Who was really behind all of that? Like you know, you never
There's
know.
more
like,
to it. Okay.
so
Women
there's-
are way more detailed than men.
Yeah,
They're
there's
absolutely
We're just gonna stand on that.
There's been
Absolutely.
way like
You're going to have to prove
for,
me wrong.
for all the
I'm
black.
just offering up as a.
I'm just saying for all the black
I
people.
think it
that-
depends on the situation.
All the black
You're
people
gonna have to prove me wrong.
that don't get credit,
Yeah.
there's a,
Research it and come
ample
back.
amount of
Alright,
women
fair
that
enough.
don't get credit for the things
I
that they've done
think,
also.
I think it's just too broad of a
No.
question.
There is a going saying, and I'm gonna need all three of you men because I'm the only woman here to come back with proof to prove me wrong. Women are more detailed. Behind every man, there is a woman that got him where he is.
Yes. Like
So let me tangent for just
I
a moment.
Can't say that.
Let me tangent for just a moment because I
I don't
actually.
mean to hurt anybody's
No.
nutsacks right now.
No, my nuts are intact. I actually believe that, but that's a personal thing. But I have heard saying that actually is a patriarchal reversal of the original truth, and we got to go back way back.
Oh, the original truth.
I can't recall where I pulled this from, but I remember reading or hearing it actually being redone in the sense that original civilization had the woman in the lead, and the queen was the ruler and decision maker, the political point, and the male was the guard, the bodyguard, the foundation, the support, and so it was really, and behind every good woman was a strong man that supported her. So somehow that, but I don't know, I have no evidence to say that's the
but
case.
even in that sense, that still helps the case of what you were refuting. So.
Right? Yeah. No. Well, I wasn't
I mean,
refuting. I was just.
but the thing you were
Yeah,
questioning.
yeah.
So,
I just wanted to provide
You,
it. I just.
you answered the question yourself.
Well,
like,
no. I was her comment made me think of that.
Just
but
amongst the four of us.
I just saying
Just
that there's
amongst the
some.
four of us, how detailed are you?
Oh, I'm not detailed at all.
Damo?
you know I lose everything.
I know you do. What about you?
Depends on the situation.
You think you're more detailed than a woman?
It depends on the situation.
Any situation. Name one. Name one where you're more detailed.
Get ready for work.
Trees.
Tree, you're more detailed?
I'm more detailed in my trees. And I guarantee a lot of women.
No. Detailed as in you know more about tree than women?
Or
I would say the markets of it and the aspects of what happens yearly with it. I'm gonna go with that. I guarantee
So-
you. I am.
so you
I
don't think that
guarantee
there's
you.
any women?
I never said that.
No.
I
What
never
I'm-
said
so
but,
what
but,
I'm-
I,
what
but,
I'm
the,
quite-
but are the most common women nowadays. I guarantee I am more detailed than that.
In
So
terms
you
of
don't- so
knowing
you
and
don't-
being on top
Knowing
of
more
what's going on.
knowledge
So
of
you
the
don't
fact
think-
and seeing, I
I'm
guarantee
just
I am.
asking, like, okay, so do you don't think that that's almost like a sense of like football, like that's like
That's why
you know like that's
and
like
this is why
like
this
that's
I say
something
it
that-
depends on the situation and subject because I believe men are more detailed in some situations than women. I'm kind of neutral in this because I'm not going to say women are not. In a lot of aspects when it comes to daily life, women are. I'm not going to say it, but
I feel
in
like
certain times of the day or certain times of the week, men are more detailed. And again, it just
Literally
comes on
only on Sundays
situation.
when they're watching football games.
Football, I say football, and I
Like,
say
I'm-
certain markets on certain things. Like
when they're
that's just
smoking
me,
their
though.
tree, when they're drinking their beer, and when they're playing.
I would say
football. When they're
when it
listening
comes
to
to
rap
a lot
music.
of computer technology, it's mostly men detail. I'm just gonna be honest with you.
That's-
Right, usually, whenever
and
women
I'm
jump into
being
those fields,
honest.
they take over. They
Right.
take
I'm
the motherfuckers.
just-
Like I said, that's a
Like,
tough
Like so,
one.
so it's just like anytime
that's
that a
my
woman
belief.
tries, like anytime that a woman takes interest in something that a man is already interested in, usually they find a way to excel in that shit and then make the man feel uncomfortable.
I never said
in
that they
shit.
don't excel,
Hey,
but I'm saying when it
That,
comes
that,
to
that
overall,
doesn't that doesn't
I'm
equate to
gonna-
detail. We're talking about detail
Yeah.
as far as excellence or performance, though. You know what I
Y-
mean? Like, I mean, I perform hella well in my job, but I'm terrible at detail.
I'm okay. Detail in the sense of like, yo, like, I feel like a girl, a woman, if say that Miss Thrax comes in this motherfucker out of nowhere, and it's like, okay, and she might be a regular ass girl, but because you like Tree, she starts liking Tree, and she starts getting into it. Like I've literally seen this with my girl with other things, and she'll start getting into it, and then all of a sudden she's saying stuff to you, and then you're like, what? How do you know about that? How do you know about that?
Yeah.
So it's like, and you start realizing like, yo, okay, so she's more attention, like she's spending half of her time doing this, and she's still getting double that, almost the same amount of information as me.
Can I agree with you?
Is
Man.
that-
Like,
Yeah,
you know,
I agree with
like.
Hey man, everyone, like I said, that's what I like about this. Opinion age, man. It's your own opinion. That's just my opinion.
It is.
I like this though. I like this. This is. I mean, that's why I thought this was a great topic, and it has a lot of.
But
I
I'm
figured it would-
gonna have to agree with Damo though. Once you get us focused, we're gonna take it, and we're gonna learn it, and then, yeah, we're gonna
Because
learn
while you love your tree, you also love your pat. So you gonna so on that Sunday while you watching your game and you looking over the stats and shit like that, she's still looking at cannabis shit.
Yeah.
I can't agree
Yeah,
with
she's
you.
probably a Chiefs fan.
I can't agree with you, man.
and we already know that the
Actually,
we
based
already
off
know
the
that
pats
the
right
pat
now,
rate,
he gonna be watching his cannabis too.
right? Because we already know.
If we want to know it, we're
Just
gonna
saying,
know it.
Patriots got 6 rings.
That's just
Okay.
what it is. If we want to know it, we're gonna know it, and we're gonna out detail you.
All right, so let's I like this. So let's move on. I got a couple more questions that I want to touch upon. This is a really good topic. So, okay, this one actually I want to dive into. We kind of see where everyone's going in terms of their alignment in a sense, right? I'd like to ask, what shaped your perspective? Like, do you feel yours is pretty easy? I would assume that it was a very female-oriented shaping or molding of your perspective.
What do you mean?
I mean, would you think that your perspective as a female is more female-oriented, or do you lean more towards female thinking of things, or do you understand or lean more towards the male?
No, it's
Side of
definitely
things.
more female. It is.
Okay.
It is more female. It
And
is,
so my question is, what
you know-
shaped that? Do you feel?
You know what shaped that? Let me be real honest.
Yeah, no, that's why we're here.
Shitty ass men. Shitty ass men shaped it, and it did, and
No.
it did because I had an interesting childhood.
Mm-hmm.
I did. Had an interesting childhood. You know that. You know that.
Right.
So I had a very God, I don't even know how to describe it. So I had a lot of. I have brothers,
Mm-hmm.
I have uncles. I had a very interesting father.
Mm-hmm.
I had my mother had interesting men in her life.
Mm-hmm.
I dated interesting men, married interesting men. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Shitty men. I had a lot of shitty men in my life, which developed me having a very interesting female perspective.
So, and that is why I asked this question, because we all have different
Yes.
channels that we traveled as we survived, right? And that shaped our perspective.
Yeah.
Now, being a female, the assumption would be that you would have a female perspective. But being a female that had a lot of bad experiences with males, with men, would that then mean that you have, you know, a female perspective that is heavily tinted? Yeah, I'm sorry, woman's perspective.
Shout out to Dita.
I'm sorry, but you know what I mean? Is it a woman's perspective that is heavily tainted or tinted, jaded, biased by a male perspective?
It is. It is.
Okay.
It's very jaded.
So, well, I don't want. I can dive more into that, but I don't want to. But
Right.
But so that is the answer to your question.
It's
What
jaded.
shaped your perspective?
It's
is
jaded
men.
by males. It's jaded by white males.
Whoa.
Those are different.
Whoa, hot take.
No, it is. It is very different. It's jaded. I haven't had a bad black male experience, or I should say non-white male experience.
Mm-hmm.
I've had bad white male experiences. I still have white male friends.
Mm-hmm.
I associate with white males. I have white male brothers, family members, okay? I've had really, really bad white male experiences. I've only had like one bad black male experience in my life.
Right.
Okay. So I've had bad male experiences. That's why I separate them.
Right. And it's been marked enough that you have to. It seems that you need to separate in a sense too.
I absolutely separate them
Yeah.
because I think white men are to blame for 99.9% of
Whoa, hot take. We'll say that for the next podcast.
But I think it's important to separate that.
Right.
I think it's for me.
It has been for you.
For personal growth, not to slide back.
No, that's a callback. We like those.
Right.
We like
So-
those.
That's why I separate them.
Bars.
Yeah. So, you also grew up in the strip club business.
Mm-hmm.
In, we'll call it a hustle.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Heavy male influences there.
Lots
Heavy
of
male
male.
perspectives there that
Lots.
color your
Yes.
female perspective, right?
Yes.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, that's what I'm looking for is what colored your current perspective now is a very pro feminine ideology or outlook that has been colored by negative male experiences.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Big Thrax. Again, the question is, what has shaped your perspective more? You know, what has it been, male or female influence?
What has shaped my appearance or my
Yeah,
Perspective.
What shaped your appearance?
well, it's called
It says some ham
wisdom,
hocks.
some burgers, some soda,
Little dominoes.
little dominoes here and there. You know what I'm saying?
And I'm fucking them
But-
garlic knots.
Oh God. All right, repeat the question one more time.
Yeah, what has shaped your perspective? As you know.
Man, I can't say I had shitty women in my life. I've had a blessing of 2 great women in my life. One out of 3 women in my life, one did a very heavy impact, and I would say kind of shaped my way as I see women sometimes. But I'm very pro male. What do you say? Very. My vision, very masculine. I could say that. I've also had a shitty male in my life that didn't didn't develop me the right way to start visioning things into women. I saw the very like low side of a male, and in my time, those impacted me the most. Being in the military, it will really give you a certain vision, and like being homophobic, or just never a regular opinion or vision, if that makes any sense. I think that was a very heavy impact.
Very patriarchal.
Yeah, and I would just say women I put myself around that I've went out with or I've chosen to go party with. I put those kind of bad aspects of my view on women. And dealing with a very shitty situation with women I've been around. It definitely just kind of molded me of just being.
When you say that, it sounds like you mean romantically, not just hanging out with.
Yeah, no, romantically, I have. It's really destroyed my view on being with a certain person in life. That is just me. Like kind of like what fellow Queen over said. Shitty. I've just had shitty. I wouldn't even say I'm calling women. Just had shitty people around me. We'll just go with that. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's
helped shape your current.
Shaped my thing. But
your current experience.
Trying to change it, trying to learn, but with day to day, that's all I can say, really.
Well, that's why there's always personal growth.
Right.
Damo to the right.
I would say that, growing up, I grew up with my brothers, but I grew up with my mom. Like my mom raised us, and so it's weird because it's in this world it's already patriarch, just a male dominant, very hyper aggressive, hyper masculine, programming going on. So it's it's hard to just be like, oh yeah, I was just fully just influenced by a woman's perspective, but a lot of how I go about life is just kind of having that balance of I was raised by my mom, and I didn't really have my dad in my life, so I a lot of the things that were being programmed weren't being reinforced, if that makes sense. So it's kind of it's kind of some of those things were kind of falling through the cracks, and so it kind of built a more balanced kind of a viewpoint, I guess, for me. It's very I can being raised by my mom and seeing all the things that she had to go through as a woman, in the working in any working industry that she was in, and or just with men and things like that, and just having her perspective, it molded me definitely. But then it was just every day I'm being told different things on TV, and I'm just seeing different stories, and it's oh, that's how it's supposed to go, that's how life is, type stuff. That it was just kind of it kind of molded me into this person where it's I still find myself in habits of saying things that I'm oh, that's not really okay,
right.
But it is what it is. I feel like we've all said, personal growth is a thing. So, but I think it's a balance, and I feel like everybody should have a certain type of balance, whenever it comes to that shit, and being able to see the other side of the perspective, even if you are a male, being able to hop over and kind of see where a lady might be coming from, instead of just seeing it from your side of it all the time. So I try to do that. But
Great answers. So the next one that I have, I think it's funny. Romance.
We lit.
So, I'm just gonna make this one super simple. I would like Miss Kim to give us, her womanly, feminine perspective of what you define romance to be.
Now, see, this is where it's gonna get tricky.
And that's fine.
As you and I have discussed before, we have different perspective on romance.
Right.
Now, I think romance, much like beauty, is in the eye of the beholder.
Mm-hmm.
I think if your intention is to be romantic, then it's about the other person you're trying to be romantic with. It's not about what you find romantic.
Their love language.
It's exactly, it's their love language. So it's not about what you find romantic. Because you're not trying to romance yourself, are you? No, you're not. You're trying to romance me. So it should be what I find romantic, not what you find romantic. And I think that's where people go wrong.
This is where I'm taking notes, by the way.
You know what? I am going
So you
to
gotta
encourage
take
that. I encourage all you guys to take notes right the fuck now. So I'm not sure why your phones are not out. I'm not taking notes. So, yeah, it's not about you. It is about the person you're romancing. So unless you're romancing yourself, then you're doing it wrong.
Okay.
So
That's actually really good.
You need to learn the other person.
Feminine response. I'm
You need
just
to learn the
well.
other
That's actually a
person.
good human response.
Yeah.
That was
It's just like sex. It's just like sex.
Cool.
You're, if you have to bleep this out, I'm sorry. You're not sucking your own dick, okay? And from me, from the point of view, I'm giving you a blowjob. I need to know how you like it, right? You're not gonna like it like somebody else likes it. I need to know how you like it.
Right.
It's just like romance.
Right.
So that's just how it is.
Let's dive into that then. From
About how to suck your dick?
No.
Oh.
still
I just want to
trying
make sure.
Still trying to get some sponsors.
Okay.
No, actually, you know what? Let's hold that. Let's
Uh-huh.
hold that. I'm gonna pick on Big Thrax. From a male's perspective, from the perspective that you have grown up with, what is romance to you?
Man. I mean,
Whatever it is, there's no wrong answer here. So you know.
I mean, yeah, I mean, it's kind of tough because I'm not a romantic type.
Okay, so then
I mean, I kind of see romance as if you actually want to try and build with somebody. But
Okay.
I would have to piggyback off what Queen said. It's about what the other person wants and what they like, because that's what, at the end of the day, that's what you're trying to win over. So I'd agree with that. I can't say much else.
Okay.
I'm just not for romance.
Yeah,
That's
because
just
rolling a big ass blunt for Thrax would be romantic as hell.
That's
my God.
exactly my point.
Yeah.
Had been the apple of my eye, and I was trying to romance him, which it sounds really crazy now that I'm saying that. That is exactly how I would. That's exactly what I would do for him. I would know the way to romance him at the end of the night is fucking hell. I'm sorry. Is to bring him a fat ass cheeseburger, have him a blunt ready, right?
right.
And to have something funny on TV. I don't know, play some Office.
and do the thing.
Have him chilling, and probably some oral where he doesn't have to do anything at the end of the night but chill. That's a romantic fucking night for Thrax.
Okay, we're gonna move on because this is awkward.
Right, that really just got fucking awkward.
I was thinking in my head like, yeah,
Why do you
yeah.
know so
I'm
much
trying to
about
please
me?
the person I was saying. I'm just trying to think like, yeah, that is peaceful.
Say why do you know so much?
Right. It's kind of weird.
Like, do you
but-
got any friends that like would do that?
Can you put that on a piece of paper and slide it to one of your single friends?
Hey, yo, I need that for my fucking social
yeah.
media.
But no, like.
No, he's like this. Can you say that again real slow?
I mean, but romance, like, I don't know. I feel like romance is one of those things that it's like.
Whoa, wait, hold on. Actually, I'm sorry. No. I wanted to come at a different angle with you.
Okay.
You have a very, let's say, open view or mutual transactional perspective on romance. You don't necessarily care for romance, period. So my question to you in that regard of romance is, do you feel that there is a difference in the approach between a man or a woman when it comes to romance?
I mean, I can literally only speak from my male perspective, but like I can speak on like how I've like.
But in your
You know,
experience,
like okay, so like what I guess I can let my experience speak in that sense of like like I do feel like as a male like it's kind of looked upon you to like like come forth with the romance, like the romance and like to be kind of like the knight in shining armor and that like versus like in like kind of in a lot of senses it's not like seen as like the woman is supposed to be like wowing the dude as much as it is the other way around. And so it's like one of those things where it's like just because of that, like there's gonna be a little bit more on the like. I feel like once a girl like decides that she actually likes the dude, then usually that's whenever it's like, okay, well now I'll be romantic. But like sometimes that's not the case. But a lot of times I feel like most of the time it's like, all right, the guy's got to be romantic off the cuff for the longest time, and then the girl like starts to like him, so she starts being romantic. And then, like, that's...
And then it just builds off of that.
Yeah, and, like, it's supposed to build off of there, but then usually the girl says the dude, like, starts acting funny after a while. Like, yo, you're not doing what you used to do.
Right.
And it's like, well, fam, I was doing everything. Like, I can't keep...
Whoa. Hot take. Hot take.
See, I disagree with that.
You disagree with which part?
I want to hear what you got.
Which part?
I disagree that the men should be doing it all from the start. And then when the women start to like you, then they start doing it.
I don't think that's how it should be. But I think that's how it is sometimes.
And you know what? If women are like that, then they've been doing it fucking wrong.
So okay, so I wanna take a step back and just kind of clarify. What you're saying essentially is that the responsibility of effort falls on the man. Up front.
Oh God.
Until the woman until she recognizes like, oh, this is real, he likes me, I like him, and so then she starts to reciprocate, right?
Because I mean, and I know that a girl will kind of like probably switch that and be like, nah, like there's still effort being put into the like courting process.
No.
But it's like
That's so stupid.
Yeah, but it's like I really feel like it's off rip. It's kind of one of those things where like I can remember, me like girls that looked at me a certain type of way because it was like, yo, like you, how are you gonna provide for me?
Mm-hmm.
Like yo, you are homeless right now. It wasn't, so it's like, but there are times where that's not the case, and girls, like are on some different shit. But I do feel like a lot of times it's more of seen as like, all right, well the male is supposed to be the provider. They're supposed to be like romantic, like the knight in shining armor, swooper off her feet, type of thing. And it's like I feel like that part of that has been built by male. Part of that has been built by like male perspective, male like programming and shit like that. And so like because we're not gonna act like, oh, just because males are programming it, that it's only affecting the males. Like
that's some indoctrinated shit.
Women watch TV too, like type shit. So it's like, okay, they're gonna get those same. Okay, well, whenever they see the guy on TV with the chiseled abs that always gets the girl, like she thinks that, okay, well I'm the girl,
right? So that's what you're supposed to be. That's
an indoctrinated thing.
That brings me to a question that I have, and I want to. Let's dive into that a little bit then. Let's go into that because one of the topics or pieces I wanted to talk about was television, from a male or female perspective. One of the questions I had is when is it better? As a female, when you're watching something on, well, let's not say TV, let's say movie, media, whatever.
She asked for a nigga over here, man.
In that scenario, do you feel that you get a better product or a better, evocation of emotion or whatever the end thing that you're supposed to get? Do you think that it's a better product when it comes from a female or male in terms of how they wrote it in the perspective that they were going after?
See, I feel like in the world that we live in now, like it's whenever there's a balance, it always comes out better. Like whenever, because you're able to get a better perspective. Like for me, I think of shows like Atlanta, and for example, like already like Donald Glover, he's already just kind of like a balance. Like he kind of has some feminine and some like masculine, like you could tell. But then you look like he's not scared to work with with women that are writers and things like that. So it's like, yo, I'm able to get these other perspectives to be able to write a better story.
Okay.
They have a whole episode in the first season that's literally from the leading lady's perspective, and things like that. So it's like, those are always better for me, because I can go and watch that with my girl, and okay, at least for one episode, she'll be able to really tune in, and it will make her tune in for the rest, because whenever she sees that character, she's tuned in now.
She relates, right? Yeah.
Exactly, versus it being so that's for me. I feel like it's, like I said, I always feel like it's better with a balance, but I mean, it also depends, like, if it's all women writing a fucking football movie, that shit's probably gonna, I'm probably gonna be laughing the whole time, bro, this is ass. But, it's the same way about all dudes writing a fucking fashion movie or something like that. It'd be like, yo, what the hell is, this ain't, there's something missing. It feels like there's something missing here.
I have to ask, how educated are you on who writes a movie and who doesn't? Are you gender educated like that, to know that? I'm not.
You may not be,
you
but
fucking know that?
No,
you may not be, but you
I
should
feel
be able
like
to.
people should you can tell whenever you're watching something that it's like, yo, like,
Can
all right.
I think you can.
Quentin Tarantino, does he work with a bunch of females?
That's different. You know who Quentin Tarantino is.
Yeah,
you
but-
know what his movies
but
are
you
because
wouldn't-
they're the exact same
exactly.
fucking movies
whenever,
every time.
So whenever you see certain things, there's certain things that come that happen in movies that it's like, all right, this was probably written by a bunch of dudes. Like, what the heck? There's no woman perspective. There's frat house movies and things like that. That it's like, okay, but then you'll see the sequel. Then you'll see the sequel. They have the sorority. And it's literally all women, and it's like, no, that was still written by all dudes.
Well, there are ones that are super easy that you can tell are written by all women. So you don't sit here with Zoya and be like, ooh, let's go watch da 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 da.
No,
written by a
No.
Okay, because I have no fucking clue.
I'm
that's
not
answer
saying
this
that. I'm
question.
just saying whenever you're watching, a lot of times you can kind of feel where it's like, okay, and if you actually do know a couple, if you know a couple of the names, like I said, Tarantino,
Right.
Donald Glover is another name, but he actually works with a lot. He'll work with a lot of other people, So it's just one of those things where it's like, there's these different scopes of you see the Tarantinos on one scope, you see Donald Glover's on the other, and it's kind of like there's a mixed grade of them, where of people that it's like, all right, they might only work with. They're very patriarchal and only work with who Hollywood says so.
Those are usually producers and executive producers, not really writers.
But writers.
There's a couple of different ways that plays out, because just because they're the
If
producers,
writers are in Hollywood,
they can still influence the writing.
Exactly.
They may not write it, but the writer could be a woman, and they bring it back, or they present it, and the producer's like, no, I don't like that angle, and so now it still could glom on with a male perspective.
Who's your writing team? These are things that I'm funding, so I get to have a hand in these things.
Right. They do have.
So
a
it can
voice
create
into
that.
it. Right.
But actually that.
And it's like, but people like Donald Glover are willing to be like, nah, you don't. I'm gonna work with who I'm gonna work with. You're either gonna be okay with it or not. I'll go to another.
Or I'll go independent.
Yeah, and there has to be more people like that to make. I feel like the industry more balanced in that sense, because most things are just kind of one way. We'll just put all the women on one project, have them working on that for a whole year, and we're gonna be working on 70 projects over here as the whole male industry pretty much.
Okay, let me ask you this: when you watch Harry Potter?
Yes. Oh well, I did as a kid. Yeah.
Okay, back in your youth.
Yeah.
Did you know it was a woman just by watching it?
J.K. Rowling, who wrote the book.
Mm-hmm. Could you watch that and know it was a woman?
No shit.
Yes.
I'm not a Harry Potter fan. I don't give two fucks, but that is impressive. I will give you that. So is she the creator of the Beast also?
She wrote the whole book.
What about
I wouldn't think
I don't think she did that one.
She did the Beast.
The Book of Beast? I thought someone else wrote that as a.
No, those are all her.
Damn.
So every off series of Harry. That's fucking impressive.
I just don't know if
I can't argue with that.
If I would have thought that Mel did it all by himself, type, I don't know. It's just a weird perspective for me, where it's just I just don't be seeing dudes as that all right, when there has to be a woman somewhere, you know, like along the way, right? Like
that guy's making too much sense.
like so it's just kind of one of those things where it's like, all right, whenever there's balance in that shit, like that was a movie that all right you could watch as a kid and like yo like all right then it probably wasn't just fully male influenced then. Like a lot of.
So that's what gives it to you when there is balance and there is sense made in a movie. You're like, there's a fucking female in here somewhere.
Yeah,
this shit makes too much sense.
Yes, because have you seen some of this shit? I mean, like, let's be real. Like, no, but
details.
It goes both ways though. Because it's like, all right, then you have fully woman done things, and it's like, all right, well, there's no balance there either. Sometimes, you know, like they sometimes they try to integrate it. Like I won't say that they don't try. But it doesn't come off that way.
My bad, I didn't interrupt you. What's your favorite movie again? 16 Candles?
Terms of Endearment.
Terms of Endearment. Who directed and wrote that?
I have no fucking clue.
Do you think it's a man or a woman?
That's a funny thing.
That's a good question.
If I had to guess.
I know that's your favorite. One of the movies is one of your favorite, I know. Yes. So if you had a guess, what would you guess?
I would guess it was a man.
Why would you say that? Just a quick little 30-second overall aspect of why do you think it was directed by a man?
Because a woman died in it.
So now does that make you say it? So you're saying
a horrible death, and she fought with her mother the whole time.
No, I can tell you why it was written by a man. I can tell you. I don't know that it was, but my number one guess why it was written by a man because fucking Flap gets away with being a piece of shit and a cheater and a deadbeat.
And he goes off with her.
Right, so.
And he gets rid of his kids.
Off rip, that was written by a man. Off rip. Not to mention it was written in like 1980 something.
Yeah, 79.
Yeah, see.
79. He even says, I don't really want my kids.
Right.
Okay.
There's no woman.
I'll send it to my mom.
There's no woman that would write that. They wouldn't write that for their kids. Yeah.
It was a man?
Yeah.
It was a man.
That was a good question.
I just want to see her opinion on like some certain things.
Yeah.
That's a good question.
So one more. What's your second favorite? Okay, no.
Ooh.
It's fun talking about shit.
Give me a movie that you think was directed by a woman.
A movie I think
that you have watched and you a good movie that you have watched and you thought was directed by a woman.
But that's the point.
I watched and was directed by a woman. Ooh. Let me think about that for a second.
Okay, well, next podcast or so.
No, I'll have it by the end of this one.
I don't know how much time we have left. That's why I was just saying. You know.
I mean, we've already run over time. But this is such a good discussion that I want this, and I got pieces I can edit. But this is good. Yeah, we're well over. But
what about you?
What about me? What?
Damn, I forgot the question. I had a good one. I was like,
do you feel like it's better or worse?
A man directed. Do you feel it's better when a man directs it or when a woman directs it? Or rights. That's what the original thing was.
To be honest with you, if I'm just gonna be like completely 100 transparent,
that's what it is. No arguments here.
I don't give a shit if it's a man or a woman.
Respect.
I just want it to not be written by a white person.
That's respect.
That's
all respect. I can't argue with
that. And now let me. That's not the topic, but let me dive into that. I would definitely prefer the voice of women in general. Mainly because women tend to have a more rounded approach to things. They're more nuanced. There's a lot more depth to the characters in the story and the things that happen than if a man does it. Usually. That would be my assumption. That's how I think about it. But to be honest, the reason I say I'm not a white person is because if it's a man, it's a white man that's going to be written in a sense that it's just straight patriarchy, it's straight white supremacy, it's straight fucking capitalist competitive nature that's unnecessary. And if it's a woman, it's a 50-50 shot of being a woman that's going to parrot the white supremacy bullshit or a woman that is so anti-male that all males get cut off. And I'm not saying that's a good or bad. I'm just saying that is a result of a white woman having to live and survive and find a way to thrive under a white capitalist system. So, in my opinion, if I had to have my stories written, if I wanted a movie, I would definitely, I just want it by a person of color, so that I can get a different perspective. Preferably a woman, because I want it well-rounded, but I obviously want some masculine touch, because I do like a little shooting my plane bang sometimes.
Would you have a gay man do it?
I don't give a shit about that. I don't care where you put your dick. I just want the story.
Well, that could give you a feminine perspective and yet a masculine perspective.
Absolutely, yeah, it could, and that's fine, and that's a perspective that I would be willing to. I mean, that's.
Young Thug wants to write a movie for me. Let's do it.
Yeah, no, that's
Is
fine.
he gay?
No. He portrays, or he blurs the lines of.
Yeah.
You know, he's not gay, but he likes to play in the lanes of the clothing and the
Well,
style.
I don't know.
But he's
He is,
gangster as hell. And
Right.
Shoot up everybody.
Right out of his clutch. No, I mean, yeah, no.
Not out of his clutch, from under his dress. Literally, pause.
So that
Oh,
actually.
wait a minute. When you said clutch, was you making a purse
Yeah.
reference?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I don't know who he is, so I had to ask. Sorry.
But you know what? That actually brings me.
I have
To-
the movie by
We're
the way.
not.
Let me interrupt.
This
Oh, no, go
podcast
ahead.
Not getting aired because I'm not getting shot. By
I
Young Thug.
absolutely love. Interrupting me. How rude.
No, we're listening.
I love the movie The Help. And I would love it if it was directed and written or something by a woman.
The Help.
The Help.
That one, I would actually bet that it is.
I love that
It was
I
definitely
absolutely
written
love
by a
it.
woman.
As much as
but
it hurts
it
my
was definitely a
soul
white
and
woman.
it makes me cry every time I watch it, I love it. I would hope it's a woman.
It is a woman.
Yeah.
Yes!
Catherine Stockett.
Yeah.
Yes!
I
That's
guarantee
crazy.
it's a white woman.
Is she white?
Oh
Yes.
yes, guarantee it's a white woman. There's no way. This is that. I mean, there's.
Said The Help.
This-
It would have been reversed. It would have been reversed.
The hell?
Has anybody seen the advertisement for the movie The Cracker?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've seen
yeah.
something,
Okay,
yeah.
okay. I was hoping I wasn't the
Yeah.
only one. It was there for a minute. I haven't seen it since. I thought, did I
It's
make
like,
that
did
shit
I
up
make
in my
that up? 'Cause
sleep?
I
So-
might have to go ahead and write that one.
I thought I
but
made
is
that
that
shit up in
weird?
my
Is
sleep.
that
Trying to
weird
call
if a
the
white
crackers?
person?
It's
So-
called The Cracker, and it's spelled like Pop likes to
Cracker.
write
Yeah.
because he
Cracker.
can't spell anything correctly.
Cracker.
Yeah, and it's
Like Uncle
black
Cracker.
people owning white slaves.
Oh, I've seen that.
Oh,
Okay,
I've seen
okay,
it.
okay.
I've heard about that.
Sorry,
let's-
sorry.
No, I like that. I want that, but I want that for a different
Alright.
section. But these are really good. This is really good, and this actually led me into something else here. Clothing. We're talking about sexuality, and I want to run into clothing with that because sexuality and clothing run along together, right? And so we see a lot of masculine femme clothing and a lot of feminine masculine clothing. So I'm gonna pick on Big Thrax.
Is that because he wears skirts?
Oh,
That's
dang.
you know what's
All
your
fucking day.
what is your perspective on that, and do you feel that you know, I guess what's the dominant perspective in that sense? Are you seeing more of a masculine energy in terms of clothing and
You
style?
have a
like that?
spider all right on your shoulder.
Whoa!
Oh shit.
Yeah,
And it was would have
He
been.
would have got. He would have turned to Spider-Man.
bro, I had a goiter on my neck or something.
If he could turn into Spider-Man.
Right.
All right. So what was the question?
Miles Morales.
The real life Spider Verse. No, I mean from a clothing style trend perspective, right? You're obviously a male. We've talked through the different ways of how your perspective been shaped. Do you feel which perspective, male or female, do you think has the more dominant energy right now in terms of clothing and design?
That's a good one. I might say female.
Really?
I might say female, and I only say because it's with this new generation, and this new eras that we're coming. The less is the better. I mean, is it not? And that tends to draw our attention. It's like, oh, so in my opinion, with all like Fashion Novas, you see more female partnerships than you do male. In my opinion, I think Fashion Nova's more of a women type brand. But I'm not saying Fashion Nova for men ain't hot, because some of them no homo. I only say that, you can edit that out, right? Okay, cool. That some of the Fashion Nova for men is pretty dope. I ain't gonna lie. If I was a lot skinnier, I'd try it.
Right.
But I would say definitely Fashion Nova. I think it's definitely more women perspective. And I only say that because, I mean, some of the shit some of these guys are wearing nowadays, it's just questionable. It's just kind of like, my man, you really wearing that? And I think, maybe they got it from a female perspective. That's just me, though.
No, that's why
just
we're
feel
asking.
me,
We're
that's
asking.
just me. Yeah, let's go with that.
Miss Kim.
Huh. I have no fashion sense.
Well, from your
None.
purview of the fashion sense, do you think it's more male or female driven?
Oh, it's female driven.
You know?
It's female driven from a male perspective.
Mm.
We wear
Mm.
what we're told to wear, or what we think you want us to wear, because we think you're going to like it. It's male driven.
Male driven.
Yes.
And how does, I'm going to play devil's advocate.
Mm-hmm.
We're used to that position.
Mm-hmm.
How do we factor in that particular angle when we account for the magazines and
Magazine editors are male.
No, there's a lot of them that are female.
There are a lot of
there's a
female.
lot of female.
There are more male than there are female.
I'm not gonna say that.
There
I
are
don't
more
know,
male than there are
but
female editors.
I'm
When
sure.
it comes down to the pictures that are
Mhm.
picked
Mhm.
for magazines, there are more males
still
than
male
there are
influence.
female.
okay.
Especially the more racy female, or the more racy
You think
magazines.
that's still driven from a
It is
male,
more
not
male
female?
driven, absolutely. Photographers that are taking these pictures
They're
are
all
more
male.
male
They're all
than
male.
not all
Yeah,
of
but
them.
aren't they gay? No,
No.
that's stereotypical. So I apologize, but I'm.
they are
okay.
not.
Okay.
There are more male than there are female. It is male driven. It's absolutely male driven.
I would like to get a model in here to talk about that because I wonder how dangerous that environment is. If they're not, my assumption has always been that there are a prevalence for the gay community to be into that, you know, to be a photographer or in that realm. But that's because what the media is always shown. I've never been in the modeling world in that realm, so I don't know. It's an interesting take. Very interesting.
I feel like that, like, I mean, to go back to, like, kind of what Thrax was saying about the, like, how people are dressed nowadays and stuff like that. I don't know, I feel like it's a matter of, like, realizing that, like, yeah, female, like, women, whenever it comes to the, like, fashion industry, like, they rule that shit. Like, what they say goes because, like, alright, like, either women are wearing it or dudes are wearing it, but dudes that they're only wearing things because like women wear things because they like it.
Mm-hmm.
Like dudes wear things because the women like it. like most dudes aren't wearing things because it's like, oh yeah, I really thought this was fly. And like, no, I wore this out and this girl down the street told me that I look fly in this, so I'm never like I'm gonna wear this for the next.
That's very true because I won't lie, because even when I go shopping, I'm like, hey. I was like, hey, what do you think about this? And what are your opinion on some of these items? I won't even lie. That's hella true.
No, that's
But doesn't that almost
and so
be the
like but
counter
that's
to what you're
this
saying?
level. That's this level.
But yeah,
Or
like,
this generation?
No,
or
no. That's this level.
Like of the like this is
of
like
things.
wearing shit and like the basic like yeah.
That's
But
this consumer level.
Yeah,
of things.
exactly.
Yeah, you're talking.
I'm talking this level of things before it makes it to us.
The decisions are made from a very male perspective. What you're
absolutely.
saying, but you're saying from the consumer level, the male.
Yeah, because what I see is like a lot of more of just like kind of like I don't see like actual like Met Gala, you know, like I'm seeing like streetwear shit. That's what world of fashion that I see, and so that's kind of like underneath the level of where Kim is kind of talking about, and it's like right now that shit's being like really dominated like in a sphere of like very feminine energy, you know, very feminine vibes and stuff like that, to where it's like, I mean, you have to realize, like, even looking back, like, a lot of the best, like, a lot of fashion icons, like, name a male fashion icon.
That's not gay?
Like, name a fashion,
isn't it
male
what
fashion
Kanye
icon.
gets his dick sucked for?
Like, he's not actually, like, he
He's
doesn't
not a
actually
fashion
wear
icon.
nothing fly that's like, oh shit, the way that he, like, no, like, literally, like, there's women that like, yo, you're taking, this is an iconic picture of what she's wearing and da-da-da. We got this dress hanging up. There's no suits hanging up, and except for, he got shot in this
that
shit.
dress she's wearing is a man, right?
Yeah, no, I understand that, but what I'm saying is just like in the sense of like how it's being formed in like
the presentation.
Yeah, like because it ends up becoming like later on, like now it's to the point where like Shmino, for example, he's a fly ass like he's an artist that he dresses pretty fly now.
Yep.
But his biggest influence, if you ask him, whenever it comes to how he dresses, is the Brat. Which is a woman, which she's a lesbian. She's a lesbian. So, but at the same time, like she's still a woman. And the way that she carried herself, he was like, no, that's dope. Like, I'm able to, like, and a lot of dudes see the way that, like, even the way that women do things and are like, low key, I can do that in my way, and it would be really cool. And it's just like one of those things that's kind of just how it is right now in fashion. Like, I don't know how
Women
to
are
really
the
explain
trendsetters.
it.
Of course, suits are a suit is a suit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, literally, yeah, like, nobody's, like, it's just, like, nothing is cool about, like, anything that...
Like, right now, the only
dudes
male...
can put on, so it's like, oh, yeah, I'm gonna put on this satchel, it's a satchel, it's not a purse. Like, you know, it's
a
like,
European man bag.
Yeah, like...
It's a clutch with a K.
Yeah, and it's just, like, with a K in it.
Right.
Like, what's up, bro? What's up?
Shout out.
It's not my purse, it's not my clutch, it's a clutch with a K.
Okay, so... I want to go ahead and kind of get us wrapped up here. Been some really good conversation. I like all the different perspectives that we have. The last thing I want to go with, and I'm just going to make it a quick round table thing, just kind of a yes or no, male or female. I'm going to start over here. Major life decision that you have to make. Are you going to your mom or your dad?
My dad is dead, so I have to
Oh,
go with my mom.
You know, okay, I'm sorry. I should have made it more.
They're both alive.
Yeah, let's...
You're like,
Oh, so if they're both alive,
Right.
who am I going to?
Right.
Ooh. Well, I mean, that's tough. Well, I'm probably going to my mom.
Okay.
Going to my mom.
I'm going to you.
That's
Okay.
pretty easy for Cody.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, the people that, you know what I'm saying, I'm not going to either one of them two.
If they were alive.
No.
Okay.
You.
But it would still be a male perspective, though,
Yeah.
because you do have a female available.
Yeah.
There you go. Major life decision.
if I'm going to them, am I, like, taking what they say and, like, running with it?
No. It's not even a matter that you even listen to what they say. It's just a matter of, there's a major life decision. Who's the first one that you're going to, turn to ask that question?
I mean, if I had to go between my mom and my dad, I'd have to go with my mom. Like, I wasn't about to come with no surprise sticker, no shit. I know. He was like, this is the moment. Like, nah, my dad was not there. I don't know that nigga. So it's like, yeah, like, I'm not about to, that's the only person I could really go to in that perspective. I don't really know what type of advice my dad would give.
Right.
Give me that pick, though.
You see, that's my thing. I wouldn't know what kind of advice my dad would give, and if he did, it'd come with strings.
Right.
Or a body. Or,
So,
you know?
And so,
You just don't fucking know.
that's... The reason I asked that question, and I use it as the last part to kind of wrap it up, because I think the male and female perspective ties into our own survival and personal growth, because...
What about you? Answer that question.
Answer the question.
Yeah.
Oh, man. My mom.
You and your mom.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, though, if I'm being completely 100, even if my mom and dad are alive, I'm going to my sister.
Really?
Yeah, I'm going to Sonya first.
Before your mom or your dad?
Hit Sonya first. And she's my A1, so I'm good. That would be... But... And that's the reason that I asked the question as we talk.
We got fucking. I mean, I guess everybody else did get a
Little extra.
get a wild card. I'm going with Sid. Fuck y'all.
Shout out, Sid. I mean, no, but the reason I ask is because as we go through our lives and we deal with the things that caused us the need to survive, and that survival created the personal growth that we went through, that also shaped our perspectives. And being that we're male or female, woman or man, doesn't necessarily determine how your perspective is going to be shaped. I can answer a question, what shaped my perspective? Definitely women. Definitely women. I was lucky that I had men in my life. I had several men that played more than a father figure, mentors, OGs that, got me to where I was. But I had a very strong sister, a very strong mom, I had a very strong grandmother, I had a very strong aunt, I had a very strong play sister. Even my baby sister is a strong-willed person, So my life has always been centered and balanced by women. But I've also grown up with. I grew up in the tail end of the crack era, the start of the golden age of hip hop. You know, so a lot of what I learned was tempered by the music that I grew up with, and a lot of things they said either validated or devalidated or didn't validate the things that I learned from the males in my life, and that's what made it easy for me to pull out the good things from what I needed to hear in the music when I didn't have necessarily positive role models in my life. I definitely think that those things all come into perspective and how it shapes our own perspective, whether it's male or female. So, look, speaking with you, Ms. Kim, I would definitely say that you are a female that has had a strong male shaping or molding to your perspective. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm not saying that that takes away or devalues your feminine qualities or your feminine energy. It's just that it is definitely colored by a male energy in the sense that you've had these experiences and they have set the barometer for how your approach is going to be. And sometimes from a female perspective, you're going to approach with male tactics because of your perspective.
Oh,
and so that's
my clutch with a C holds a K.
Right. but I think it's very telling to ask when you ask someone, okay, a major life decision, who you're going to ask, your mother or your father. Mm-hmm. And we go to Thrax, and he has, even if we throw out the parents, right, he still has a male and a female substitutes, right? The instinct is, because of his male leaning perspective, he's going to reach out to another male to get some understanding, you know. And
which is interesting considering he has so much female.
Right, and that's why I want to talk about it, because there's a lot of nuance to how what has shaped your entire viewpoint.
Right.
You know, is a lot of ways structured off of male and female energy, right? And the way that you might react and handle things, the way you might see the world, and the way your worldview could or could not be shattered is sometimes dependent on that experience and how that male or female energy flows through you and how you maintain and manage. So, yeah, that's all there is tonight, guys. I appreciate y'all. Great session. Appreciate y'all for hanging out. That's another wrap for the Sprinkle Some Salt gang. Y'all have a good one.
Gang.
Peace.
And affiliates.
Alright then, that's gonna do it for this time, folks. Hope y'all found a spark of interest along the way. If not, spark another one and try again.